Hey y'all, I'm back with my December 2024 reading wrap up, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Books with Kimberly. Don't forget to like, comment, share my channel, and subscribe. Y'all, I am back with my December 2024 reading wrap up. I read a total of 14 books. 5 of them were audiobooks and 9 of them were Kindle books. So let's get right into it. In my November reading wrap up, I spoke about the book No Thank You by Alexandra Warren, which is a part of the Fiennes family novelette series that are all centered around the Thanksgiving holiday. In the month of December, I finished this series by reading the last 2 books, and those are Thank You Next by Nicole and Thank Me Later by Christina C. Jones. Thank You Next by Nicole Falls, we get introduced to Rich and Kaiser. The 2 of them were childhood friends. They discuss taking their friendship to the next level, and Kaiser gets invited to Thanksgiving dinner. Thank You Next was a cute and fast read, so I am giving this book 4 stars. In Thank Me Later by Christina C. Jones, we get introduced to Nico and B. Nico needs a date for a company event, and so he hires B to be his date. The company posts pictures on Facebook, and so when his family see these pictures, they are expecting to see B at Thanksgiving dinner, and she agrees to it. But of course, in the midst of the 2 of them talking and getting to know each other so they can put up this ruse to co-workers and to family, a spark is ignited. This one was my favorite one in the series, so I am giving it 5 stars. My next read in the month of December is by an author who I really grew to enjoy her books in 2024, and that author is Danielle Allen, and the book is Big Nick Energy. I love what Danielle Allen did with this homecoming weekend story. Y'all, we get introduced to Asha. Asha is a plus-sized, curvy, fashionable queen. Her and her best friend arrive at homecoming weekend with a plan. Asha had the biggest crush on Nick Williams when she was in school, but she did not pursue him because he had a girlfriend, like the homecoming queen, really skinny. Come to find out, he ends up marrying another girl, and she's a curvy woman. So when Asha is lurking on Instagram and finds out that Nick is single, she comes up with a plan that she is going to get Nick. I enjoyed this story so much, y'all, because of course I was expecting her to be following him around like a puppy dog this whole weekend, but the 2 of them actually run into each other literally, and Nick is making sure she's okay. It wasn't forced. It was very natural. The connection happened quick. This book was a short story, but it gave the steaminess. It gave the romantic chemistry. We also got a date, which y'all know I am big on romance novels having dates. And I love that even this novella that is shorter had a date during homecoming weekend with everything and all the activities and festivities going on. Nick found time to take Asha on a date. So he's giving book husband material, honey. I ate this book up, y'all, so I absolutely give it 5 stars. On to a much steamier and smuttier read. I reviewed The Oath by TM Richardson a few months ago, and I knew she had a second book, but smutty books are not my go-to. My curiosity got to me, and y'all, the offer is so good. It is another poly romance book. In this story, we get introduced to Elisa, and Elisa is looking for a spark in her life. She wants some fun. She goes to this club called Secrets, which is a different kind of club, a spicier kind of club. While she's there, she has a night of fun with Kadeem and Christoph, who are the main male characters. The 2 of them are in a relationship, but it is hidden from the public because Kadeem is a former NFL player and Christoph is actually a politician running for office. Someone snaps a photo of the three of them. They wake up to a media frenzy of everyone trying to figure out who is this mystery woman with Christoph. There was a lot of actual plot and storyline that I enjoyed to go along with all the smuttiness happening. This book was 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I cannot wait to read more from TM Richardson. Unfortunately, TM Richardson only has 2 novels, which is The Oath and The Offer in the Secret series. But she does have a short story called Real Girls Get Down. This story is so creative. It gives sci-fi dystopian vibes because this book is about Cammy, who is a stripper at a strip club. I was reading a lot of books about strippers in 2024. I think this is like book number 3. Real women in this world are dying off and being replaced by robots called synths. And these robots are so realistic. At this strip club, it is very hard for the human women to make money for themselves because, of course, the men can be much more rough and there are no limits when it comes to them and their interactions with the robots. So I thought this was so interesting. It doesn't give a lot. It's really, really short and a very quick read. But it's so creative that I give it 5 stars, and I love that the author lets you know that there is more to come. I am officially caught up in the Blessing series by Beverly Jenkins. I read book number 10 in the Blessing series, which is On the Corner of Hope and Maine. It was pretty good, but I love that in this series she introduces new characters, new storylines, and I felt like this one didn't have enough new content for me. In the previous book, there were some issues between Bernadine and her partner Mal, and I don't like how their issues were resolved in book number 10. So because of that and the lack of additional storylines that keep this book fresh and exciting, I am giving it 4 stars, but it still was a really good book in the series. Book number 11 in the Blessing series is A Christmas to Remember. I give this one 5 stars. There was a new romance that bloomed. There were also some new characters that we got introduced to. We had some funny moments. There was a wedding. So I'm really loving this series, and I'm excited that the series is not over. So I look forward to continuing the Blessing series. Another series that I completed in the month of December was the Situationship series by Gray Huffington. In December, I read 3 more books in this series. The first one is 637, which is a full-length novel. I will say I gave this book 3 stars. One thing I did like about this story is we get the perspective of Syxth's sister, Sevyn. I do feel like this book was a little boring. I wanted more, so I gave it 3 stars. The next 2 were extremely short stories, like 30-something pages. That is Syxth Giving and 6 Whole Weeks. 6 Whole Weeks I gave 4 stars, and I gave Syxth Giving 3 stars because it wasn't giving much. The next book I read in the month of December is Burial of a Player by Kimberly Brown. This is book number 3 in the Giroux family series. Y'all, this one is my favorite book of the Giroux brothers so far. I did not expect to love this book as much as I did because a little quirk that I have is that when I'm reading a romance series, it's okay that I know that the next book in the series is going to be about the brother, the cousin, the friend of the main female character or main male character. But I am not fond of knowing who the couple will be in the next book, especially if we already get to see their origin story in a previous book. And I feel like when you already know who the couple is going to be in the next book, you don't get that surprise. that excitement, that cute meat. But y'all, this book proved me wrong. I am so glad it was a full novel because I ate this book up. This book is about Georgia and Walker. They have a situationship going on. Both of them are players. They're best friends. They have this situationship going on, but they're always at each other's places. Walker has taken Georgia on trips, bought her gifts. He pays her rent. He is doing all the boyfriend things, but the two of them are not tied to a relationship. So at a family wedding, Georgia is like, look, I'm ready for something more. I want to be in a relationship. Walker laughs it off like, come on now. What we have is a good thing going. We don't need to take it any more serious than it is. This angers Georgia and she ends up ghosting him for months. And so in this book, we have the two of them going from best friends with this friends with benefits situationship going on to the two of them both realizing they have deep feelings for each other, and Walker trying to process those feelings, decide what he's going to do, and ultimately figure out how to get his girl back. I really enjoyed this book, y'all. I ate it up. I give it 5 stars. The next book, y'all, is my nonfiction book of 2024. Y'all know I always try to slide in a nonfiction book, even though I prefer to read only fiction. I just feel like I have to get that nonfiction book in there. So the book that I chose is Our Kind of People Inside America's Black Upper Class by Lawrence Otis Graham. I have wanted to read this book for a long time. This book was interesting, but it was a lot of information and it was a lot for me to process, and a lot of it felt very repetitive because a lot of the social clubs and organizations are a lot alike, except Delta Sigma Theta, which was spoken about and mentioned in this book. Just after a while, it got to be a bit much for me, but I do think this was an interesting read, so I am giving it 4 stars. I'm officially finished with the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I finished House of Flame and Shadow in the month of December. I gave this book 5 stars. It was another entertaining book. I just think I really enjoy the characters within this story. Like I said in my last wrap up, I'm not completely sold on Sarah J. Maas, but I can give her credit for writing a really good series. This is my favorite one of all the series that I've read or started by her. I will say one critique I have about Sarah J. Maas characters is that she creates main female characters who come into a lot of power. And sometimes, most of the time, that power really goes to their head. And so those moments where they're really into their ego and they know what's better for everyone and what they say goes, they start feeling themselves. And then on top of that, they have these mates that go along with whatever they say. Their ego gets really inflated having that mate and having this abundance of power by the last few books in the series. So I don't know. I just be like, girl, please simmer down. The last book that I read in the month of December in the year 2024 is one I was very excited to read, and that is Sky Full of Elephants by Cebo Campbell. Y'all, this book is so interesting, and I love a creative concept for a book. This book is about a society, a world where one day all the white people walk out into the oceans, bodies of water, and drown themselves. In this book, we have 2 main characters. One is Sydney. Sydney is a biracial girl who was raised in a white family. So she is grieving the loss of her mom, stepfather, and 2 siblings. And it is hard for her. She is locked up in a house by herself for 2 years, and then she gets a note from her aunt, and her aunt is saying, not all of us are dead. So she is thinking there is a society somewhere in Orange, Alabama, where white people are still there and she needs to get to that town to be with her people. The second main character is Sydney's father, who is a black man. He's teaching at Howard when he gets a call from Sydney that she needs his help getting to Alabama. He stops everything and starts this journey of getting to Sydney. Sydney has a lot of hatred towards her father because of his abandonment. She does not know he was in prison. So in this story, we get to see their relationship develop. Both characters are on a journey of finding themselves. It was a very interesting story. It talked a lot about Black consciousness and the struggles that Black people have had to endure because of the effects of slavery. I will say that I wanted to connect to this story emotionally, and I just felt like I couldn't. And also, I really wanted more world building. I just had so many questions, like, how does everybody feel about this? What are they doing now in this society without white people? Like, you would only get little snippets of what this new world looks like. And so I just wanted more. I wanted a lot more. But this book was interesting. It was enjoyable. I give it 4 stars. Y'all, that's it for the books that I read in the month of December. Get down in those comments and let me know what were some of your favorite books you read over the holidays. And thank you again for tuning in to a Books with Kimberly video.